What's going on everyone, June with the Sushi Man, and in today's video, I'll be teaching you 3 simple sushi rolls you can easily make at home. We won't be using any raw seafood and you'll for sure be able to find these ingredients at any grocery store. It's great for any sushi beginner and perfect for young kids. Not to mention, you'll be the coolest parent at school when you make these for your kids' lunch. But be prepared though, because they might be asking for it all the time. Alright, without further ado, let's jump right in. First, let's go over the ingredients. And the most important ingredient in sushi is the rice. And since we're only making 3 rolls, you only need about 2 cups of cooked rice. Now, I recommend cooking a bit more and making more sushi, or use it for something else. But regardless, you can follow my how to make sushi rice video to learn how to do this properly. Alright, next we have some half sheets of nori, which is dried seaweed. Now the first roll we're going to make is a spam and egg roll. So for this, we'll need some spam, about a ½ inch slice of it, 1 large egg, which we'll be scrambling, some Japanese Kewpie mayo, about 1 teaspoon, and then a tiny pinch of salt. Alright, the second roll is going to be a kanikama salad and avocado roll, which is imitation crab salad and avocado. And I'm going to share with you our crab salad recipe, which we used to our poke bowls and was always a huge hit. So for this, we're going to need some imitation crab. I'll be using 4 sticks, which is about 2½ ounces total. And this is a bit more than what's needed for the one roll because it makes the sauce measurements easier. But a little extra won't hurt anyone, right? And trust me, you'll probably just want to eat it. Now, you can use pre-shredded imitation crab, but I like to use the sticks and then shred it myself. I just find that the pre-shredded ones are typically lower quality and the texture is a little too mushy. But that's personally for me, and of course you can use whichever type you prefer. And then for the crab salad sauce, we're going to need some Japanese mayo, sesame oil, rice vinegar, soy sauce, and mirin. And basically we just mix this all together. And then we'll also need an avocado, about 1/4 of it. Alright, our last roll is going to be a BLT roll. Yep, BLT like the sandwich. Bacon, lettuce, and tomato. And if you haven't tried this, well, you're in for a pleasant surprise. So we'll need some bacon, about 2 slices, a little bit of lettuce, about 1 leaf or so, and then some tomatoes. I'm going to use these cherry tomatoes, but you can use whatever type. And then lastly, some Japanese mayo again, about 1 teaspoon. Alright, that's all the ingredients for the 3 rolls, but you can also add some toppings like unagi sauce, sesame seed, spicy mayo if you're making it for adults, or your kids like spicy things, wasabi, ginger, and soy sauce obviously, but I'll leave those things up to you. Okay, now let's move on to our prep. Alright, let's start off with our spam and egg roll. First, let's cook our egg, and we're going to keep this as simple as possible and just scramble it. And I'm sure you guys know how to scramble an egg, so here we go. Alright, now we're going to let this cool in the bowl while we move on to the spam. So we have this ½ inch thick piece of spam here, and we're just going to cut this into thirds the long way. Now, technically we only need 2 pieces, but cutting into thirds makes it the perfect size to roll. The extra one can be a snack for the chef or something. And now we're just going to go fry this in a pan for a few minutes. Alright, the spam's going to cool for a bit, and now all we have to do is add the mayo into the egg with a little bit of salt and then mix it. And I just estimate the mayo, but it's probably about 1 teaspoon or so. And of course you can adjust this to your liking. And then just a tiny pinch of salt. And then we just mix it. Alright, that's the prep for the first roll. Now let's move on to the crab salad avocado roll. Alright, first let's shred the kanikama. And I do this by cutting it in half first. And then break down each piece by rubbing my fingers together like this. Now once it's shredded, we're just going to add in those ingredients in there. So the mayo, about 2 teaspoons. And then about 1/4 teaspoon of each of these. Sesame oil. Rice vinegar, soy sauce, and mirin. Now we just mix this all together. And there you go. Crab salad is ready. Now let's cut our avocado. And we're only going to be using about a quarter of this. And then we'll slice this down to about 1/4 inch thickness. Just like that. And if you guys want to learn more about cutting avocados for sushi, then check out my video with the link right over here. Alright, that's it for prepping roll number 2. Let's move on to our last one, the BLT. First, we're going to fry some bacon. And you can do this however you like. I typically do it on the pan, but you can pop it in the oven, air fry it, microwave, however you normally do it. Alright, bacon is done. And while this cools, let's cut our tomatoes and lettuce. And we're just going to shred our lettuce into thin strips so that it will be easier to roll. And same goes for the tomatoes. I'm using cherry tomatoes, so I'm just going to slice these down smaller. But if you're using a larger tomato, you can slice them down into narrow long pieces. Basically, we just need it to be thin enough so that it fits inside the roll. And once the bacon is cooled down enough, we're just going to cut these into thinner strips as well. Alright, we're done with the prep. Now let's get rolling. Now all these rolls are going to be made as an uramaki or inside out roll with the rice on the outside. So make sure your makisu is wrapped with plastic. And you can watch my original how to roll sushi video if you don't know how to do this. And I'll show you how to roll step by step with this first one. But the process is exactly the same for all of them, just different ingredients. So I'm not going to go through each step for rolls 2 and 3, since that will become really redundant. Alright, so first just make sure you have everything in place. The rice, bowl of water or tezu, cutting board, makisu, all the ingredients, clean towel. And make sure you lay the makisu with the sticks horizontal, and the greenish side is on top. Now don't worry if yours doesn't have a green side to it. If that's the case, it doesn't really matter which side you use. Now lay a sheet of nori horizontally on the makisu with the rough side facing up. And wet both hands with the water and spread it out evenly. It doesn't have to be dripping wet though, just wet enough where it's shiny like this. Now grab a ball of sushi rice, about the size of an apple. And then we're going to spread this out onto our nori nice and evenly. Make sure to get all the way to the corners and edges. Okay, now we flip this over so that the nori is on top. And when you do this, leave about an inch of space from the bottom of the makisu to the bottom of the nori. Now we lay our ingredients across the middle. So I'm going to start with the scrambled egg first. All the way across. And then 2 Spam pieces. Just like that. Now from here, we're going to wrap the ingredients by bringing this bottom part of the seaweed to the top of the ingredients. And we use the makisu while we do this to help guide it and shape its form. So put both thumbs underneath the makisu, and the 4 fingers gently hold the filling in place. Okay, now we bring up the makisu with our thumbs while tucking in the Spam and eggs, and then wrap the nori around the filling. And at this point, the ingredients inside should be wrapped, but this top part of the nori should still be visible. From here, hold the roll with one hand, then pull this top part of the makisu away from you. This will help tighten the roll and keep the fillings from falling out. Now we take this bottom part of the makisu and pull it away while you continue rolling. And the roll should just naturally wrap itself at this point. Now apply some gentle pressure from the top and sides. And unwrap the makisu and you should have yourself a nice uramaki. Now from here, I like to clean up the ends a bit by aligning the edge of the makisu to the end of the roll. And then push in on the rice while you apply gentle pressure. This will help make the end pieces cleaner. Do this for the other side. And done. Now, since we're making 3 rolls, I'm going to wrap this in plastic for now so that it doesn't dry out. And then we'll cut all 3 at the end. And I explained this in my Philadelphia roll video, but leave about 3 inches of extra plastic on the top here if you plan to cut it with the plastic still on. This way you can pull off the plastic in one piece versus picking off a bunch of small pieces. Alright, on to the second roll. Now again, I'm not going to take you step by step on these other two. Just do the same thing as the first one, except the ingredients will be different. So this one, instead of the spam and egg, just put avocado and the crab salad. Okay? Don't worry, you got this. Alright, good job. Now onto our last one, the BLT roll. And you're probably getting the hang of it now, but same thing, just the fillings will be bacon, lettuce, tomato, and some Japanese mayo. Now one thing to note with this one though is it's really easy to overpack, so just be careful not to stuff it too much or else the roll won't close quite easily. And if you want to make this a futomaki style, which are bigger rolls, or tatemaki where you put the nori vertical, you definitely can. It'll make the roll a lot bigger, but that way you can add more ingredients inside and it'll still roll easily. Again, watch my how to roll sushi video for more details. Alright, that's it for the rolling part. Now let's get ready to cut these. Now this may be pretty repetitive if you follow my channel, so I'm not going to go too in depth into cutting these. But for those that are new or just need a refresh, we're going to cut these into 8 pieces. And you can do this however you feel comfortable. But I find the easiest way and the best way to keep the pieces even is cut it in half down the center first, then each side into half again, and then each quarter piece into halves again. And you can cut it just like this with the plastic still on. Just make sure you have that extra plastic on top and do not cut through it. Okay, make sure your knife is clean. Dip it in some water. And as long as you didn't cut through this top part, you can unroll it just like that. And we'll just bring the pieces back together. And there you go. Now I'm just going to put this one aside and then we'll cut the rest of these. Alright, and there we go. Now it's time to plate these. Okay, I'm going to be using this cool slate board to plate these. Mainly for photo purposes, but you can use whatever you have obviously. Or a bento box for your kid's lunch. And then I'm going to drizzle some unagi sauce on top of the spam and egg roll because it goes really well with it. And now some small dollops of Japanese mayo on the BLT roll, just because it looks cooler, and also I totally forgot to put it inside the roll. And there you have it. Great job guys, and remember you can add or combine any of these ingredients together to make your own version of these. Plus it's a really fun activity to do with the family, so get your kids involved and have them make their own sushi. And if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about making sushi, then be sure to check out my book. It's called How to Make Sushi at Home, a fundamental guide for beginners and beyond. I teach you everything you need to know about making sushi, not only at home, but professionally. Some topics include the right sushi tools, how to source proper ingredients, cutting fish, making nigiri, rolls, sashimi, chirashi, temaki, basically everything sushi and beyond. Check out the links in the description if you're interested. And now that you know how to make these beginner and kid-friendly rolls, learn how to make another one, or actually 3, by going to this video right over here. Thanks for watching, and as always, feel free to leave any questions or comments below. I'll see you on the next one. ありがとうございます。